for the cancellations and rescheduling. This is letting you see your transcript, your very favorite history teacher. It's some Manic Monday, which was Sunday, because that's my fun day. So I had to reschedule because I'm trying to prepare for lessons for today. Now I'm at my lunch break today. It's shorter. But I wanted to come on here because y'all know I'm a history teacher and I teach government. And I want to shout out to the Hawks podcast. Please look at the links in my description. Also, the links to the U.S. Constitution and also to a book called Slavery's Constitution by David Waldstreicher, and also a review of his book. And that information is really for Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith. Good thinking his name is Becker. I was introduced to what he was saying. Hey, V. Harjet. I was introduced to what he was saying about the 3/5 compromise. And I've learned about the 3/5 compromise since middle school, again in high school, college, undergraduate, grad school the first time. Then I went to grad school the second time so that I was able to get 18 hours of history to teach, 18 graduate hours so I can teach history at the community college and undergraduate level. So when I heard this man out of, hey, Lady Sparkle Smooth, when I heard this man talk about what the 3/5 compromise actually meant, it made me angry. It made me upset. It took me a while to figure out how I was going to respond. And I'm still thinking that I'm probably going to share my video directly to him and maybe even to the Indiana legislature, because you might be saying, hey, maybe you disagree with the analogy of the other legislatures who are upset at basically a proposed bill that he supports that's doing away with DEI. And so one of the lawmakers said, hey, by you trying to get rid of the language in this DEI, anti-DEI bill is almost making it seem like, I guess in a way, almost like rewriting history, putting things there that's not. And so he said, and their analogy was to the 3/5 compromise. Now, my argument is not, I guess what I'm addressing is not that analogy. I'm addressing what he said as a response, because let's say he didn't know how to respond to this question. He should not have responded the way he did. If you did not understand the analogy, or even if you cannot put forth the argument. And what he said was, to me, so not in line with the traditional viewpoints historically about the 3/5 compromise. And then at the same time, he was trying to say that what he was saying was actual history, and that he actually was someone that studied it, and he knew what he was talking about. And I'm going to say this here because I'm a teacher. Some people feel, and people who are like him, we try to tell them like, hey, what you're saying is wrong or right. Oh, you need to teach me. Well, the legislator in Indiana, they don't have time for that. They're debating you and others who think like you about this bill. Okay? And so I'm going to teach you, and I'm getting you videos and resources in the description, including the U.S. Constitution that obviously you need to read again. Okay? So Just to let you know what my qualifications are, in case you want to say, oh, you must be DEI. Excuse me. I went to one of the best public universities in the state of Texas, Texas A&M University, which I graduated in 2001. Okay. Um, I am also Ivy League. I went to Teachers College at Columbia University. Okay. Um, I got my master's there in 2008 in the teaching of social studies. I also went back to grad school at the University of Houston in 2014, so that I could, I think 2012 to 2014, to get 18 graduate hours in history so that I can teach it. So I do know what I'm talking about. Also, I've been in education since 2001 when I graduated. I graduated in August and I started my first class 2 days later. Okay. Um, I've taught full time in the classroom 15 years. I've taught the community college level since, I believe, 2010. So it's almost that amount of time as well. So I want you to let you know about my qualifications. Most of my professors that I've had, when there's discussion about slavery or about the ratification of the U.S. Constitution, predominantly most of them are white. So in case you want to say, oh, I must have been taught by some woke DEI person. No, I was taught by people who are experts in their field. Okay. And the book that I think you need to read, and Amazon has it on sale. Okay. You probably can get it on Kindle too. All right. And you need to understand something because obviously I think it makes me want to know why I ask, were you talking when the teacher was talking in class? Huh? Were you talking? Because it sounded like you were talking. Maybe you were absent. Maybe you told her or him, I read the book already. I know what's in here. Were you absent? You know, what was for you to come up with this? Okay. So I'm going to let y'all hear what he actually said that that will really set me off. Okay. I'm gonna go to my history and by the way, this link to this is from Hawk's podcast. He was reacting to someone else reacting to what Lieutenant Governor Beckwith saying.
The sitting lieutenant governor of Indiana, seen here dressed like a youth pastor who just discovered TikTok and who calls himself a Christian nationalist, which, by the way, Christian nationalism just...
Okay, hold on. I want to make sure. I'm going to show you what I see. See if I can. Okay, let me turn. Hey, it's my classroom. Okay, I'm going to turn my camera around so you can see the board. And this video is protected by Section 107 U.S. Copyright Act of 1976. Okay, fair use. All right, please check out Hawk's podcast. All right, and so let me turn my camera around, go to my settings so that you can see it. Okay. Okay, y'all see it? Okay, so this is me at my little board at lunch. I want you to hear what this man has to say about the 3/5 compromise.
I would like to share with you the 3/5 compromise is not a pro-discrimination compromise. It was not a pro-discrimination or a slave-driving compromise that the founders made. It was actually just the opposite. Don't buy into the DEI radical revisionist history that is happening in today's culture. Know your history. Go back and study the documents. Read them for yourself like I have. Go look them up, and you will find that the 3/5 compromise and many other things like that were designed to make sure that justice was equal for all people and equality really meant equality for all.
How are we still having...
Sorry, y'all looking at my desk. Let me turn my thing around. Do you see why I was upset? Do you see how I was trying to figure out? And the man said he studied history. Don't give into the DI revisionist history, which, by the way, I feel like you're projecting because basically he's giving revisionist history. Okay. So I'm going to read for you from the Constitution, where it specifically talks about 3/5. Okay. Okay. U.S. Constitution. Because obviously, like I said, that's why I have it. I have it in the link. I have it in the a link from the U.S. National Archives, and I'm gonna go to where it says how they are. So the very first branch of government that is listed in the U.S. Constitution is the Congress. So I'm going to go to Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution that tells you basically how the qualifications and requirements for members. And it also talks about how they are going to decide how many members from each state. Okay, so let's go here. If you go to Article 1, Section 2, you go to the first, second, third paragraph. I'm going to read it. Representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states, which may be included within this union, according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding to the whole number of free persons, including those bound to service for a number of years. That is referring to people who have indentured servitude or people who are, in jail, as punishment. And excluding Indians not taxed. So they're not including Indians, probably those who are not assimilated in the tax, not taxed. So they're not including their population. Then it says, and excluding Indians not taxed and 3/5 of all other persons. One thing that David Waldstreicher says in his book, he says, even though the U.S. Constitution does not say the words, are y'all still seeing me? I'm sorry. Can y'all see me? Were y'all looking at me? What's that? Okay. Even though the U.S. Constitution never says the word slaves, slavery, or slave, but it does confirm, validate slavery. Slaves are included in the population. The U.S. House of Representatives is based on population, and that includes all the free persons, including those bound to service, white indentured servitude, or those in jail. Excludes Indians, but it does include 3/5 of all other persons. So when this man says what he said, I just you need to go back to school. You need my class. You need to take my class. Do you need me to tutor you? Because obviously it bothers me that one, you are in Indiana, which was a free state, and that where a lot of there were quite a few members of the Underground Railroad that helped slaves to get to freedom. There were a lot of people, a lot of slaves who, because you were near Kentucky, near Tennessee, went through Indiana to get to Canada. And there was others who just blended into the population. And for you to say, and their ancestors, their descendants are probably still living in Indiana. And you said this out loud with your mouth. don't give into the revisionist DEI history. No, we should not give into the MAGA revisionist history that you have. Now I'm kind of understanding why they're removing artifacts from the Black History, African American History Museum, because y'all don't want to be reminded of the true history of how this country was built and those who contributed to it. If you read this, Article 1, Section 2, the third paragraph, how can you say that this dealt with everybody being equal? It don't even say, the breakdown of population is not even equal. It said the numbers for each state, how they're apportioned, how many representatives are apportioned, is based on whole number of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, indentured servitude, in jail, excluding Indians. Exclusion of Indians is not equal. And 3/5 of all other persons. It means they're only counting 3 out of the 5 slaves. That don't sound, what's equal about that? What's equal about that? And now you want to pass this DEI bill so that anything concerning people who are in marginalized communities, which also includes the descendants of these people who are considered 3/5 of all other persons. Yeah. Served. Mr. Beckwith, I need you, I don't know who's over there can help you formulate a statement apologizing for what you said. But knowing you, you probably won't apologize what you said because you don't think that it's wrong with it. But I'm hoping that there are citizens in Indiana that will go to your next town hall, who will come to the Capitol to speak to you, and also who will vote you out of that job in the next election because of what you said. Because obviously they have the wrong, ill-informed leader in Congress right now. I mean, in Indiana, in leading Indiana as their lieutenant governor. So please like and share this video. Please look at the sources, Hawks Podcast video, where Lieutenant Governor Beckwith is saying what he's saying. And also look at the link to the U.S. Constitution, the link to Slavery's Constitution by David Waldstreicher. I also put his bio in there in case you want to refer, you want to check if he's DEI or not. And I also put someone reviewed his video from Johns Hopkins University. So, okay. So again, let me see a transcript. I'm a highly qualified social studies and U.S. history and U.S. government teacher in Texas. And sir, you are doing revisionist history and you need to stop. You need to stop. Even, do you understand most of the men who signed, that ratified the U.S. Constitution, most of them were slave owners? Most of the ones who signed the Declaration of Independence were slave owners. Slavery's Constitution. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. I'll talk to y'all later. Oh, all right. Bye.